Rachel Reeves finds herself at the centre of yet another political firestorm. This time, the uproar comes from a surprising source: the Countryside Alliance and the Trade Union Congress, TUC. In a rare alignment of interests, these two groups have united to deliver a devastating critique of Labour's controversial inheritance tax proposal, colloquially dubbed the tractor tax. The policy, set to take effect in 2026, is already being slammed as a catastrophic misstep that could force countless small farmers to sell their generational lands. Check out this clip of Mo Metcalfe-Fisher delivering his explosive remarks on GB News.
Mo Metcalfe-Fisher, the Director of External Affairs at the Countryside Alliance. Mo, thank you very much for your company. I mean, you guys at the Countryside Alliance and farms across the country must be feeling pretty loved by the British public, the expression of love that's out there, but not much love from this Labour government.
Well, that's absolutely right. It is the British public. The British public have been polled time and time again on this, and they're well behind the farmers. There's a lot of love for them. But it's not just the public. It's also the media in many quarters, not least the excellent GB News channel, and also the political opposition, have more or less all come together to hit back against this horrendous tax. And now the TUC weighing in behind it, weighing in behind the farmers and the countryside, I should say, not necessarily always working together, but it's great to see this development. And it's a real hammer blow for Rachel Reeves, Keir Starmer and the Labour government. Another voice, and not just any voice, the voice of the TUC, whilst not directly affiliated to Labour, still a huge organisation, representing over 1 million workers, now coming in and weighing in behind this. This is becoming increasingly embarrassing for the government, and it's about time that they listened to what we have to say and find a way out of this disaster.
I mean, do you find it a sad state of affairs, Mo, that they're more likely to listen to what some union bosses said over what family farms that have been in the hands of those families for generations have got to say about food security and the like?
Well, they don't even seem to want to be listening to anybody at all. They've just got their kind of fingers in their ears and pretending everything's fine. And I really actually sadly believe that they thought this would all go away. But actually, Darren, going into 2025, the headlines are going to get even worse. There'll be more and more stories, heartbreaking stories from families that are going to have to sell up because the burden, the tax burden, is going to be too high. And in terms of politics, Darren, you know, we've got activities planned later at the end of January, constituency-wide action days, the National Farmers Union, other rural groups all coming together to protest on the ground in those constituencies where Labour have actually made gains. Let's not remember, the countryside is no longer just a Conservative-controlled space, it's also Labour too. And if I was a Labour MP in one of these rural seats, I wouldn't be keeping quiet anymore. I'd be standing up and demanding a rethink.
What makes this backlash particularly striking is the involvement of the TUC, an organisation often seen as broadly supportive of Labour's agenda. Their intervention has added a sense of legitimacy to the growing outrage, giving the rural sector an unexpected ally in its fight against the government. The scandal deepened when Mo Metcalfe-Fisher, the Director of External Affairs at the Countryside Alliance, called out the policy in no uncertain terms. This is a real hammer blow for Rachel Reeves, Keir Starmer and the Labour government, Metcalfe-Fisher declared. For the TUC to weigh in on this issue, given its size and influence, is embarrassing for the government. It's clear they didn't anticipate the scale of the backlash. The clip has gone viral on social media, with many viewers praising Metcalfe-Fisher for his impassioned defence of Britain's farming communities. In it, he accused the government of plugging their ears and hoping the problem will go away, a sentiment echoed by thousands of farmers across the country. Paul Nowak, the General Secretary of the TUC, struck a similarly critical tone in his comments to The Independent. Expressing deep concern about the policy's impact on small farmers, Nowak highlighted the precarious financial situation many of these families already face. "I'm worried about the impact this will have on small farmers," he said. "National insurance contributions are already a significant worry for them, and now this tax burden could push some over the edge. This was never the intention of the policy." Nowak's remarks have added weight to the Countryside Alliance's criticisms, making it increasingly difficult for Reeves and her team to defend the policy. According to Nowak, the onus is on the government to prove that these changes won't disproportionately harm small family farms, a task many believe is impossible given the mounting evidence. One of the most compelling voices in this growing movement is Kynan Massey, managing director of Massey Feeds. Speaking at a summit organised by the hashtag #SaveFamilyFarms, Massey outlined the devastating financial toll the policy would take on his fifth-generation family business. With his company valued at £30 million, Massey estimated that the new inheritance tax rules would saddle his family with a staggering £6 million bill. "Our family doesn't have that kind of money," Massey explained. "The only options we have are drastic ones. We could sell the entire business, sell part of it, or take out a massive loan. None of these options are good for us, our employees, or the local community." The emotional weight of Massey's testimony has resonated with people across the country, sparking widespread outrage over the perceived unfairness of the policy. Critics argue that Labour's tax changes disproportionately target family-owned businesses, while foreign-owned corporations and faceless mega-companies remain largely unaffected. "This isn't just about numbers," Massey continued. "It's about people, our employees, their families, and the communities that depend on us. If we're forced to sell, there's no guarantee that the buyer will share our values or reinvest in Britain. In fact, it's likely they won't." The policy has also come under fire from economists who warn that it could backfire spectacularly. Analysis by CBI Economics suggests that the inheritance tax changes will cost the Treasury more than they raise, as family businesses cut back on investments or are forced to downsize. The report estimates that over 125,000 jobs could be lost in the next 5 years as a direct result of the policy. "Labour talks a big game about growth," said a spokesperson for the Taxpayers Alliance. "But this policy will do the exact opposite. It's short-sighted and counterproductive." Meanwhile, Labour's broader approach to governance has drawn criticism for its reliance on bureaucracy and unelected bodies. Since taking office, the party has created 25 new quangos, averaging one per week. These organisations, often accused of duplicating existing functions, have been branded as inefficient and overly secretive. "It's a tale as old as time," said Richard Holden, a former Conservative Party chairman. "Labour creates a quango to fix a problem, only to find that it makes things worse. The result is more regulation, more taxes, and less accountability." This perception of inefficiency and overreach is only adding to the pressure on Reeves, who is already facing calls to reconsider the inheritance tax policy. Rural protests are intensifying, with farmers and business owners vowing to fight the changes every step of the way. The Countryside Alliance has promised to ramp up its campaign, and more rallies are expected in the coming months. For Rachel Reeves, the stakes couldn't be higher. With her credibility on the line and trust in the Labour government waning, this issue threatens to become a defining moment in her political career. As 2026 looms closer, the question remains: will Labour stand firm on its policy, or will the mounting backlash force a dramatic U-turn? One thing is clear: this scandal is far from over.